Hi everyone, it's Nicole, and I have another layout using the October Hip Kit Club, or Hip Kit, and this is the third layout using this kit. It took me an hour to make, and I'm showing you some of the pattern papers from Crate Paper, a lot of the die cuts. I keep pulling out those Maggie Holmes gold letters, but I have a hard time using gold. There's also a black font, and I love the black font. And I'm going to use that pattern paper with the flowers, and I'm going to use that as the background, and the polka dot is going to be a layer. Now I'm showing you some tack and peel, and the reason is I bought this stamp set from Stampin' Up. It's a camera, and I don't like to keep it on the wood block. I have something that's called tack and peel, and the only thing is it's permanent on a block, so on a clear block. And any red mounted stamps that you have that you want to put it on that block, you can do so. And so you can remove the foam and everything, so you just have the rubber. Now I have my new mat, and that's what I was saying, that it's just creating so much light stuff. But anyway, I'm going to add some gesso to the back of the layout, and it was going a little slow, so I'm taking the palette and I'm applying it because I want to add some gelatos to the background. And so I just want to cover that background a little bit. So now I'm going to take my sponge, and it's called a stamping sponge, and I got mine from Stampin' Up. And I'm also pouncing because what it's doing, it's actually creating a lot of texture when I'm doing that. It's making little ridges, and so when I put my gelato on, it's making some really nice texture. So now I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to dry it up because, I don't want to wait. And then I'll do my gelatos, and I thought maybe I was going to use that guava, but the pink was wrong. This pink there is very pink, and the pink on the pattern paper is more like a peachy pink. So I'm going to go through a whole bunch of gelatos that I have in my stash, and I'm trying to find one that is, closest to what I need, and I can't find any. So what do you do when you can't find any? Well, you just make your own. So I have this peach one here, but it's not the right peach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of pink and a little bit of orange to it. And I'm going to make the right color combo that I wanted. I want it to be a little bit more peach than the background, because then what's the point of adding some color, right? Because if it's the same color, it's no fun. So I start adding it with a paintbrush, and I was like, oh, that is just going to take too long. So then I take the peach and I add it all over. Then I add a little bit of pink, and now I'm going to take some water. And at first I put it on my mat and try to do that. I'm like, oh, that's going to take forever. So then I spritz some water, and because I added the gesso, the gesso is a primer. So what it does, it prepares your papers so that you can add more water. But another thing that it does, it makes it so that it doesn't soak in the paper, so that you're able to blend your gelatos, because it's not soaking into anything, so it stays wet a little longer, so you're able to literally blend your gelatos right on your page. So I'm going to add a little bit of that peach, more of that pink, a little bit of that orange, until I get the color that I want. And once I'm happy, and it's, again, once you're happy, you can stop. And I'm going to put my paintbrush in the leftover gelato, and I'm going to add some sprinkles. And then I'm going to clean up that mat and put it away, because it does create a lot of glare. And now I'm taking my heat gun, and I'm going to heat everything up, or dry everything up. And again, I'm going to dry it to the front and the back of the pattern paper. And there was so many die cuts in this kit. And I just love that because there was the Maggie Holmes pattern paper and that you cut apart, and on either side of it was something different. So because I got the extra pattern paper, I was able to cut both sides, and I cut both sheets right up. And then there was the ephemera pack that had like 80 some pieces or 80 pieces. So ton of ephemera and die cuts and stuffs, which I love. The more the better. And you know, my goal every month is to kill the kits. One, the pattern papers, because like I've said many times, the thing that I used to do my own page kits, and it just used to bother me that once I was done that layout, I really love the layout, but then the leftovers of the pattern papers went into a file or a place where I kept my already cut into pattern papers. And I would never do another layout with it because I'd move on to the next kit. And this is why I love kits so much, because my goal every month is to use up all the pattern papers. So I think, and I've mentioned this a few times, you're going to see me scrapping more, especially starting in January, maybe even a little before. You're going to see me scrapping more with my stash. I'm going to end up just only keeping one kit club. And so I'll have to pull from my stash a little bit more, right? Because I typically do about 20 layouts. But I'll be making kits from my stash because I don't want to stop that. I don't want to go back to making a layout with a pattern paper and then putting it away. And the thing is, if you go back and see my killer kit, even though I got 24 kits from the same kit, all the pages look different. And I had little pieces of pattern papers left, and they all went in the garbage because they literally were scraps, and I love that. And even if there's a little bit of ephemera or die cuts left, that's okay, because that you can put it in a bowl on your desk and just make sure that you use it. So I really enjoy getting as many layouts as I can from a kit. And every month it's to see how much I can get from a kit, right? And so anyway, I just ended up taking a whole bunch of those die cuts, and then I'm just layering in behind, over top. And the thing is, to make it so that it looks like it all belongs together, you just got to make sure that you overlap. Don't leave gaps in between your die cut shapes that you're putting together. And by doing so, by touching more in, even if you can touch more than one die cut, then it makes it pull together even more. And I didn't know if I want to do more to the background, so that's why I kind of build that cluster. And I didn't want to forget how it was put together, so I put it all together like piece by piece the way it was. And then I pulled it off, and then I'm using that my favorite thing star template that came from the color add-on, and the texture paste that also came from the color add-on. And I'm going to add some stars to a few places on the layout. And the funny thing is, the title for this page is Photobomb, because this was a couple of years ago. They were trying to take pictures in front of the falls, and every time they would line up and we tried to take pictures, somebody would photobomb their picture. And it was like, if you look at the picture, if you can, for me right now it's quite far away, but if you look at the picture, you have a guy in a green hat, and he's kind of pointing at them because his buddy is taking pictures of him in front of the girls. But it wasn't just guys. Like, if you look at the other side, there's a person there too, and it's a girl, and she's got her friends taking pictures of her with the cheerleaders. So it was really hard to find a picture by the time we were done that somebody wasn't photobombing it. So it was quite hilarious. So that's why I put the photo booth. They should have put, they were going to charge people to take pictures with them. But so I took my stamp and I inked it in the Memento ink and on that pattern paper, the pink pattern paper, and then I cut it out and I'm going to use it as an element on the page. It's just a beautiful stamp. I really like it. And I already know that I'm going to be using that stamp over and over again. Okay, so at this point I want to put even more texture to the background. So I am loving that little Ellie Studio stamp that we got with the kit. And to tell you the truth, it's probably not a stamp set that would have caught my eye if I would have been looking at, let's say, Simon Says Stamp. It's not a stamp set that would have been like, oh, I need to buy that. Because it's fairly small. And, if you're looking at it quickly, it doesn't look like a stamp that you would use a lot. But, oh my goodness, those little arrows and then there's little lines and the X's. That's just perfect to put texture to the background. And then the other stamp set says laugh and then a couple of slashes, love, couple slashes, and then smile. And it's on 2 lines. Again, perfect to create texture on the layout. So I took the My Favorite Things ink that came with the color add-on. And again, I did that Stampin' Off. Or I guess it wouldn't be again. I'm not filming my videos in order. So I did a video that actually comes after this. So I did that technique. I can't remember if I did it on the page before this. But what I do, because I don't want that gray ink to be really, prominent on the page. I just want it really to look like it was maybe printed on the page. You stamp off on a piece of scratch paper. And then you stamp 2-3 times without inking. And then you get like the first generation, which, the ink is really well stamped, is on your scratch paper. And then the second and the third generation and the fourth generation, it gets lighter, lighter, and lighter. So then it looks like it might have been printed on the paper. So I'm going to use those letters that came in the kit, the thickers, and I love those. They're probably my favorite font. You can write a huge word in a very tight place. So I was just looking on the internet to see, is photobomb 1 word or 2 words? And at the same time, my son was downstairs and I was asking him, because he's a little genius in English. He, loves to write and stuff. So whenever I have questions about any kind of writing stuff, I ask him. And I was going to put it right underneath the photo, but the word was kind of getting lost in all that pattern paper because it was the white with the polka dots and then the pink border underneath. It was really getting lost. So I just moved it underneath the photo. And now I'm looking for some twine and I cannot find a peach that matches. So I grabbed my white twine, and that was exactly why I bought this, and my crisp cantaloupe ink, and I'm just gonna pull the thread through it, and it's just the perfect color. So I'm going to do, quite a bit of the thread, and at one point I was kind of pulling and it wasn't working very well, so then I started rolling. It looks like I'm patting, but I'm actually rolling back and forth, and then it's rolling the twine, and it's really doing a good job at coloring. And then I'm going to take my heat gun, and I'm just kind of fluffing that twine so that it dries quickly, because I wasn't willing to wait. I just wanted it done. Now I'm just going to cut it in 3 pieces. I'm going to twirl it around my finger and then make like you're going to make a knot, and then just tighten it against your finger. And then I'm going to use my quick dry adhesive, and I'm just going to put it to 3 areas on the layout. And then I ended up using a couple of buttons too from the Teresa Collins line. And now I'm looking in my what I'm trying to use for October. And I'm going to finish off that little package that had little hearts in it. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I can use up. And I'm still trying to get that done. And then I remembered that on that sheet of thickers there was little asterisks. So then I ended up adding a little asterisk to each of the clusters, and then it kind of brings in that black lettering even more. So that's it. Here are a few close-ups and the page is done. So thanks for watching. Bye.